Halo 2 is one of my favorite games of all time, so I felt that I needed to do one of these challenge videos that I've been doing in Halo. The biggest problem is, the Halo games have already had a lot of challenges done for them, so I wanted to find something that hasn't been done yet. So that's where the Wii steering wheel comes in. That's one of the only other controllers that I have on hand that I haven't used yet. For my controls, B on the Wii remote is how I'm going to be walking forward. Just like my first guitar challenge, I can't walk in any other direction, so I'm stuck with just one. I look around with the D-pad. 2 is how I shoot, A is melee, and 1 is reload/interact. And then that gets swapped later to where A is reload/interact and 1 is melee. The minus button on the Wii remote is how I jump, and the plus button is how I switch weapons. So, the question is, can you beat Halo 2 with a Wii steering wheel? Let's find out. To start, Cairo Station wasn't really that hard of a mission. I did die a few times just because of how the melee works in Halo 2. Anytime you get meleeed by an enemy in Halo 2, it's pretty much always an insta-kill. Not every time, but pretty much every time. I did die to this elite here, but I did come back and get revenge by beating him to death. And then after that, I gave this wall a mean smack for some reason. And then we continued on to the room with grenades. This is the first spot where you get grenades, and I'm just not going to be able to use them. We can still do this, though. After that, we continued on normally, trying to get as many precision kills as possible with the battle rifle, because, you know, precision weapons are the go-to weapon in Halo, I'd say. Took another death here to melee from another elite. Actually, I took a few deaths here to these elites. I don't know what my problem was here, but I did end up rebinding my controls at this point. What I'm thinking is I might remap, reload, and interact to A and melee to 1. I think that'll be a little easier, so I'm gonna do that real quick. I can still do this, it's just swapped. Not being able to ADS and not having aim assist is also not great. So because I'm limited on controls, that's why I can't ADS. And as for the aim assist, that's because the way I have this set up, it basically just rebinds the controller to mouse and keyboard. So even though I'm using a controller, it's acting like a mouse and keyboard, so I don't get aim assist. Anyways, moving on, we're at the outside section now. I sniped this dude with the plasma pistol, and then for some reason I just decided to run straight at them and not do anything else. But when I got back to this point, I just stood behind this box here. I hit one of them with the plasma pistol again. Then I just used my battle rifle to take them out one by one. And on the second guy, I missed about half of my shots, so that was great. Luckily, the guy on the turret was getting shot in the back, so that made it a little easier to take him out. The last guy almost got away, but he didn't. Which brings us to the last room of this mission, which started out really great, actually. Okay. Awesome. So aside from that great start I had, it wasn't too bad to clear this room. The last guy decided to run at me, so that was cool. But that was it for this level. Then we got to watch the iconic cutscene with the space pickle, and then it was time for Outskirts. So for this mission, my original idea was to just jump up and go over everything, but I couldn't make the first jump. So that didn't happen. Since I couldn't skip all of this, I just decided to sit on the turret and take out all the enemies with that. After that, I got to the sniper jackal area, and I hit this guy with a nasty headshot, which then led us to our first driving experience. Alright, now we get to try driving for the first time. I can't back up here, so after my marine ally saw my sick driving skills, he got jealous and decided to steal the warthog. But I didn't need the warthog because I just stole this guy's ghost instead. I pretty much then kept this ghost for the rest of the level until some other stuff happened while I was going through the tunnel. That's pretty much how I thought that was gonna go. Do I have a warthog? Oh, I do. You guys are way cooler than that other guy that ditched me. Yeah, so some other Marines who were way better than that other loser decided to stop by, and I forced the driver into the other seat, and then we just drove to the end of the level. On to Metropolis. This level was pretty easy. I mean, we just took the tank across the bridge, no problem. Then once we got down into the tunnel, I grabbed a shotgun from one of my Marines and just cleared out the rest of the tunnel with the shotgun. It was all pretty easy stuff. After that, I hopped on the Gauss turret and sniped some guys until my driver decided that we weren't going to use the Warthog anymore. So then I boarded this Wraith to take out the rest of this room. And when I made it to the part where the Scarab shows up again, I boarded another Wraith and used that to take out the Phantom guns as well as the Ghost that the Phantom dropped off. Then after this section, I picked up a rocket launcher. I then used that and the shotgun I got from the tunnel, and I used those to take out all the guys on top of the Scarab. The first time I made it into the bottom of the Scarab, though, didn't go too well because as soon as I got around the corner here, this guy decided to smack me in the face. But next time around, I just saved more of my rocket ammo and spammed it at the drivers. For the next mission, this guy told me to become the Arbiter. And after that, I said, okay. So now we're the Arbiter, and we've got to go take down the heretic leader. Starting out here, I can't use my active camo because I don't have a button for it, so I just ran in guns a-blazing and punched this guy in the mouth. Then we worked our way to the elevator, no problem, and I decided to smack my teammate in the face. I died twice in the next room. The first death, this guy decided to shoot me after I killed him, and I have no idea what happened on my second death. Then I ran out of ammo on my energy sword, and I had to beat everybody to death with the handle, like it was brass knuckles or something. Then when I got to the first Banshee section, I decided I was going to skip the whole thing and fly directly to the heretic leader. But not before my Phantom decided to back into me. I then cleared out this little landing pad area, and we were ready for our first encounter with the Flood. In this room here, I started by destroying the Flood bodies with my energy sword. Then I picked up a sentinel beam and used that to kill the infection forms. This elevator section was pretty easy, and this elite that was with me almost made it to the very bottom until I ditched him and just jumped down to the door without him. The next room wasn't too hard either. I pretty much just used the energy sword to take everybody out, and I occasionally hopped on this turret. After that, the heretic leader locked himself behind this door, so I had to go cut the cable, which then led to the Banshee section where you chase him, and well, I'll just let you see how this went. Okay. Wait. What? Did I die right as the cutscene started? Nice. So this part was awesome, as you could see. This is where I took the most deaths in the whole run, and it was pretty much all from debris that flew into my Banshee. But anyways, I then chased the heretic leader back to his ship, where he sent his goons after me. And it was time for our first boss fight of the run. I took care of both of them pretty easily, and then it only took 2 sword hits to kill the heretic leader. Now it was time for Delta Halo, my favorite level of Halo 2. I started off by taking this guy's battle rifle, and then I went and took out both turrets with the rocket launcher. Since I can't zoom in with anything, I had to no-scope some of the enemies here, and then I boarded a Ghost and took out the other enemies outside. Once I got into the building, I just no-scoped everybody in that room and activated the bridge. Then we got the Scorpion, and I took that across the bridge, and then something happened that I hadn't seen before. I have never seen a Banshee fly in here, so that's new. Took the tank to this section, and I just jumped up here and no-scoped everybody that ran out of the middle. Then I picked up some new weapons before continuing on. And at this section before the end of the mission, if you climb up here, there's a hidden ODST with a sniper rifle. So I grabbed some more ammo, and I had to no-scope the 2 jackals up on top. And then for some reason the drones didn't spawn in like they usually do, but that was okay. Going inside, I took out the first 2 elites with the sniper rifle, and then I picked up the energy sword and took out the last 2 guys of this mission. The first thing that happened on Regret was I absolutely bodied this energy sword swing. Then once I made it across the bridge and through the other building, I knocked this hunter off the map, but his buddy didn't like that and decided that I should join him in the water. So then I came back and hit the greatest 180 no-scopes you've ever seen in your life. Then we had a nice relaxing gondola ride across the water with no problems there. And when we made it inside, I found this little sleepy guy up top, and now his sleep's gonna be a little longer. Then I tried to juggle the fuel rod and my shotgun back down to the elevator, and my shotgun decided that it didn't want to stay with me. I hope that didn't just fall down the... Oh, it did. But it was just pulling a prank, and it came back with the elevator. Oh, it stayed on though. I ran through this next area, didn't want to fight anybody in there. Then I just cleared out the active camo elites with my shotgun. I decided to take a break and explore the wildlife of this area for a little bit.
A very well-encrypted message from the
I wanted to bring a couple more weapons with me, so I tried juggling them onto the gondola. I took out these elites with my rocket launcher, which then led to this moment. Okay, I guess I'm not bringing the battle rifle with me. I did it twice in a row. Alright, I guess I'm bringing the sniper and the rocket launcher. Once I made it into the room with regret, I just dodged his laser, jumped on him, and beat him to death.
There are honor guards all over this place. Watch your back.
Alright, now we just dip. Which then led to Master Chief being in somebody's weird fantasy for a little bit. Sacred Icon started out with this guy getting bonked on the head, and then I tried to throw a mean punch on this sentinel and then ran away after it didn't work. Then when I got to this room, I just hit all the buttons, which then killed the enforcer without me having to actually damage him, and we got a nice little fireworks show. Then we had a fun little gondola ride out in the snow, which then led to me fighting one of these guys again, but this time with a sentinel beam. And after I killed him, I ran away again. Then when I got down to the area with more flood, I picked up a shotgun and I ran to this pillar and took out as many as I could without stopping. And then I dropped down in this hole and ran past everybody else. Once I got to the end of the level, I met up with the shipmaster and I had a little holdout section where I just had to survive.
We shall cut into the heart of this infestation, retrieve the icon, and burn any flood that stand in our way.
After the shipmaster hyped up our boys with that speech, I loaded them up on the Spectre, and then immediately ditched them after I went and boarded this tank to take through the level. I used the tank to take out a bunch of ghosts and wraiths, until I had to go back on foot to go through the downed factory. Took out a rocket flood here who I wasn't really aiming for, but should have been in the long run, and then immediately got back in another tank. Used this tank for pretty much the rest of the level where we were outside, and killed a couple more wraiths and an enforcer. Once I made it inside of the gondola section, I went up and just sat in this glitch spot where no one can reach you, and I formed my own little flood army, and then I got to watch this phantom have a little dance. Phantom's doing a little phantom dance, I guess. After that, I picked up Sergeant Johnson, gave him a nasty headbutt, and then Tartarus shot us with his hammer and we fell down a big hole. Gravemind started out with the Gravemind, playing with Arbiter like he was a toy he just got out of his Happy Meal. Then we scared this grunt who threw his needler up in the air and slid away because his legs didn't have an animation. Cleared out the first room with a needler until I could get a carbine, which I then used to take out the next room, and I picked up a brute shot. Most of this level consists of me just running around with a carbine getting as many headshots as I could. We made it down to the prison section where I freed all of our Marines, and after freeing all of them, I just stood at the bottom of the gravity lift and used my brute shot to kill everybody that came down. After going up the lift, I regrouped with my Marines, picked up an energy sword, and then went into the next room, which had a couple of elites and some brutes and then a bunch of drones. After that, I went across this gravity lift where we saw the flood-infested and amber-clad fly past us. Flood ship. After killing the enemies at the other end of the gravity lift, I jumped up on this box and then climbed up top and just ran across the top of this area. Once I got to this bridge section, I kind of just let everybody fight until I could move up a little bit, and then I picked up a fuel rod, which I used to take out the hunters and a few other enemies at the end of the bridge. When I made it into the mausoleum of the Arbiters, I killed this first elite and took his energy sword and used that to kill the rest of the elites that were up top with me. While I was doing that, everybody else in the room kind of just killed each other, so I used what I had left from my fuel rod and my energy sword to take out the last few elites who ran through the door at the end of the level. After that, this little flood infection form decided to spit some spaghetti sauce all over the Prophet. Uprising started with me getting a sword launch here, which let me skip a little bit of this section. And after that, I jumped up here with these grunts and I grabbed a carbine so I could use that against the brutes. Once I got to the room where you gotta jump down these different floors here, I knocked the explosives down to where the jackals are and blew them up. Once I cleared this room, one of my elites stopped to pay his respects to the dead guys in the hallway.
His life's blood has been spilled.
After we stopped there for a second, I picked up a fuel rod for the section where we go outside, and I used that to take out all the enemies out there. Then we got on a ghost, and we drove past everybody until we got to the section with the wraiths. Once we got to this little armory section here, I picked up a rocket launcher, and I used that to take out one of the wraiths. After that, I boarded a ghost, and I just took that ghost to the end of the level. High Charity is the second to last level of the game, and the first thing I did was grab this shotgun, which I then immediately dropped after getting this energy sword. After clearing out this first area, we took a little elevator ride up to this section where the drones are flying around, where I then took a gravity lift across 2 other platforms. After that, we got to this room where this rocket flood decided to blow himself up, and then we got to ride another elevator, but this one was a lot slower. I used my energy sword to take out a couple of the brutes in this room, and then we got to go up a third elevator. After making it to the final room here, I jumped off the edge, which then led to a cutscene with another gravity lift cannon thing. The Great Journey is the final level of this game, and to start, I got in the Wraith and killed everything in my path until I got to the door. Once I got inside, I used my carbine to take out a few of the brutes from down below, and then I switched to my brute shot and ran up top where I killed the rest of them. In the next room, my hunter ally got bodied by a box, and then I freed my allies who were trapped in these prison cells. Once we got up top, this hunter got revenge on the boxes that took out his brother, and then Sergeant Johnson hopped on the Scarab and said we needed to team up. So after talking to Johnson, I grabbed a beam rifle to use in the final battle. Then I hopped in a Banshee and I used that to escort Johnson to the final room of the level. After he broke the door down, I kept my Banshee and I flew it through these tight little corridors until we got inside and I took out the final wave of brutes. Tartarus got angry at the Arbiter and then Johnson lost at dodgeball. After that, I used my beam rifle to try and take down Tartarus until it ran out of ammo, and then I finally killed him with a carbine and his body flew into the gravity lift. After killing Tartarus, these 2 elites were in the background of the cutscene, and now in my headcanon, these are the 2 elites that are player 3 and 4 in the Halo 3 campaign. They just have different armor. After we beat the game with the Wii steering wheel, we cut back to Master Chief and he ended the game on a cliffhanger with his iconic line.
Sir, finishing this fight.